What happens when a policy crafted in high political offices reaches the dinner tables of ordinary families? When President Trump announced a sweeping wave of new tariffs, 10% on imported goods from over 40 countries, the headlines focused on geopolitics and market crashes. But beneath the roaring stock tickers and diplomatic sparring, a quieter story began to unfold. A story of people, of shopkeepers, factory workers, farmers, and parents. Welcome to TVAI. Across the Midwest, Mary, a single mother working 2 jobs, noticed her grocery bills inching higher. Bread, eggs, milk. Basic stuff is costing more, she said. The store she shops at now charges 15% more for imported canned goods. In Texas, Joe, a rancher who exports beef to Mexico, saw his regular buyers pull back. Tariffs sparked retaliation, and retaliation meant markets closing. It ain't politics for us, Joe sighed. It's survival. Trump's move to impose tariffs, aimed at reviving domestic manufacturing and reducing dependency on foreign goods, sent immediate ripples across daily life. While corporations adjusted by shifting supply chains or raising prices, everyday citizens bore the brunt. Small businesses relying on imported parts or goods found themselves cornered. Tina, who runs a modest auto repair shop in Ohio, saw her costs jump overnight. Spare parts from Germany and Japan went up. Clients blame us, but we're just caught in the middle. The pain wasn't limited to American soil. In the Philippines, shoe factory workers lost overtime hours as U.S. demand shrank. In Kenya, flour exporters saw orders dry up. The ripple effects of a single tariff decision extended across oceans, leaving real people in limbo. Economists have long debated the virtues and pitfalls of tariffs, but on the ground, the outcomes were immediate and personal. Families adjusting their monthly budgets, school districts delaying infrastructure upgrades due to rising material costs, and farmers watching unsold crops rot. These weren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. In Los Angeles, Maria, a teacher, saw her students' families struggle. Parents are pulling kids from after-school programs. They're working longer hours. It's all connected. Abroad, allies and trading partners were quick to react. Canada levied counter-tariffs on American dairy and steel. European farmers organized protests, blaming U.S. policies for destabilizing agricultural exports. The trade war no longer felt like a clash between governments. It felt like a strain on working families trying to make ends meet. Back in Detroit, the auto industry, a symbolic cornerstone of American manufacturing, faced a paradox. While tariffs were meant to protect it, the rising cost of components drove several assembly lines to halt production temporarily. Joe, a plant worker laid off after 12 years, said, "They said this would bring jobs back. Mine just disappeared." It wasn't all bleak. In some towns, small manufacturers saw a slight uptick in orders. A family-run textile business in North Carolina hired 5 new workers. But for every winner, there were dozens more navigating uncertainty. The redistribution of pain and gain was uneven, and increasingly political. Public sentiment shifted quickly. Protests erupted not in capitals, but in parking lots, town halls, and diners. "We're not against helping American industry," said Angela, a retired nurse leading a community rally in Pennsylvania. "But there's got to be a better way than punishing working folks." Social media platforms became battlegrounds for debate. Hashtags like #TariffTrouble and #PeoplePayThePrice trended as citizens shared their stories. Viral videos showed farmers pouring out spoiled milk and small shops closing down. In contrast, political pundits on national television argued about long-term gains versus short-term sacrifice. In Washington, officials defended the tariffs as a necessary tool to rebalance trade. "We're building a fairer system," said one spokesperson. "Yes, it hurts now, but we're correcting decades of bad deals." That narrative, however, clashed with the realities seen on the streets. In Atlanta, an immigrant-owned electronics shop saw a 40% drop in sales. "Our customers can't afford price hikes," said Yusuf, the owner. "We may have to close next month. Children felt it too. Non-profits reported an increase in requests for school supplies. Food banks extended their hours. Churches organized emergency aid for families caught in the economic squeeze. Meanwhile, developing nations found themselves wrestling with a dilemma. Stay tied to the American market or pivot elsewhere. Indonesia began deepening trade relations with China. South American nations formed new trade pacts excluding the US. The world's economic web was shifting, and the human cost was mounting. In academic circles, some hailed the disruption as a long overdue reckoning. "It's painful," said Professor Lillian Grant of Yale, "but it may force nations to reconsider unsustainable trade dependencies." Others warned of rising inequality and civil unrest. Inside American homes, the conversation was more grounded. "We're budgeting every cent," said Kevin, a father of 3. "We've cut back on meat, outings, even internet. And it's not like we were living large before." And in a quiet town in Wisconsin, high school principal Janet Thompson shared that fewer students are applying to college this year. "Parents are scared of debt. They're pushing kids to work straight out of school," she explained. Meanwhile, local community colleges have reported an increase in vocational course enrollments. Students are turning to short-term skills they hope will be more resilient in a volatile economy. Online communities are stepping in to fill gaps. Facebook groups for bartering goods have grown by 300% in some rural areas. Parents exchange clothing, toys, and even carpool rides. It's a return to grassroots cooperation, born not of nostalgia, but necessity. Labor unions are also finding renewed strength. The Ironworkers Local 92 in Birmingham launched a campaign to press policymakers for tariff relief programs. "We're not against competition," said Union Rep Carl Myers. "We just want a seat at the table when decisions that affect our livelihoods are made." And in an ironic twist, several large multinationals that initially celebrated the tariffs are now lobbying against them. With consumer sentiment sliding and quarterly profits shrinking, the once vocal supporters have grown silent or changed tone altogether. TVAI's investigation into this story uncovered common threads from coast to coast and continent to continent. People want fairness, but not at the cost of stability. They want growth but not collapse. And most importantly, they want to be heard. In this climate of uncertainty, families gather around dinner tables not only to eat but to strategize, discussing second jobs, gig work, and contingency plans. School boards debate budget cuts with a sense of urgency, while local entrepreneurs brainstorm how to keep doors open. It's a nation adjusting in real time, evolving day by day. As Trump doubles down on his tariff strategy, and as nations push back, one truth becomes undeniable. Every global policy has a local impact. In boardrooms, the language is profit and policy. But on the street, it's food, jobs, and rent. Stay tuned as TVAI continues to follow this unfolding story. Because behind every economic chart is a human face, and behind every trade war is a battle for daily survival.